Now we're rolling. Damage Plan MMA podcast. I am Jason. He is Zach. He's on that side today. How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. Good. It's a good day. Still feeling like crap.
You know what I love?
What?
Mondays where I get to tell you that I told you so about T-City.
I don't want to hear about it. We can talk about it after this one. Don't even.
Told you. I told you. If anybody stop this, if you want to, after you listen to this podcast with Asia, go listen to last week's podcast. My predictions on T-City.
That's bullshit.
And
Whatever.
then call me. You know I'm right.
You were right, Zach. You were right. Hey, how awesome is it that I originally thought last week when we did all of our Fighter Spotlight podcast that I'm like, man, we should have waited to do the main event, because we have this huge fight card. I thought we'll build it up to the main event. But after looking at the card, every one of the fights on there are main event fights. So
pretty much
everybody. So today, our Fighter Spotlight is Asia Negron. Did I say your last name right?
Yeah, pretty close. Negron.
Negron. All right.
Yeah.
All right. How you doing today?
Doing fantastic.
Nice. Did you watch the fights this weekend?
I didn't. I had to work.
Oh.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I wanted to.
You got to do what me and Zach does and just get the ESPN app and just watch it on your phone while you're working. Just
that's a good idea. Maybe I'll do that.
Where do you work?
So I have two jobs, but the work that I work at a rehab center for people who are overcoming their addictions.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. So they kind of need me to be present in the moment, while I'm there.
Not screaming at a screen.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, that's pretty important. Like, that's a good one. Like, it's not like you're like, in a toll booth or whatever.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you know this. So this will be the second time we fought on a card together.
Yes, I know. I remember.
A year ago today.
Yep. It was in Stillfist, right?
Yep. A year ago today, you fought Amy Campo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's a bad egg.
Her jiu-jitsu is legit.
It's wild. Her jiu-jitsu is crazy.
I've had some not so nice things to say about her coach lately, but
oh no,
I'll give her respect. She's good on the mat.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
So Asia, go ahead, Zach.
No, you got it.
All right. I was going to ask you, so you trained down in Cedar City with Steve Ergel, right, at Empire MMA?
Yes, sir. Sure do.
Do you have any dirt on Steve that we can air out right now on the air?
Any dirt on Steve? Ooh. I don't know.
I don't know if he's listening, but
I mean, no, it's funny because I'm actually down in Vegas visiting them. So he's actually right in the other room right now.
Oh.
As far as dirt is concerned, I don't know if there's any real dirt. He is a little bit of a chatty Cathy. So if you get him talking,
yes,
he'll probably reveal some dirt, honestly.
Yes, I love it.
We've had him on the podcast.
We have had him on.
Okay, sweet. So you already know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So what are you doing down there visiting him? Just getting work in, or?
Yeah, getting some training in, getting some work in. It's technically my fall break right now, so I decided to come down, get some work in. Try to get as prepared as possible.
Are you a student too?
Yeah, I am. So I'm a full-time student at SUU as well.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's busy. You got two jobs, training to fight, going to school.
Yeah, it's wild.
What are you going to school for?
So I'm majoring in biology. I'm wanting to become a doctor. So
nice.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to become a doctor and you want to punch people in the face.
It's I can knock them out and then stitch them up after, right?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Break them and then fix them.
Yep.
So you're kind of a later add to this card, right?
Yes, I am.
So how did that come about, and what do you know about your opponent?
Well, the way that it came about is this summer I went to OCS with the Marines.
Hoorah.
And yeah, hoorah, Semper Fi, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. So I went to OCS and I came back and I was like, well, I want to get right back into it as soon as possible. And we were thinking maybe December would probably be the soonest I could get, because we knew that this card was pretty stacked. It was pretty full as it was. Mm-hmm. But then Steve just called me one day. He's like, girl, I got some good news. I'm like, tell me, lay it on me. He's like, so you know how there's those fights going on in the Maverick Center? And I'm like, oh, yeah. He's like, well, I've got an opponent for you. I was like, sweet. And so that's kind of how that went down. I don't know too much about Cammy right now. All I know is that, she's a legitimate fighter. She fights well. We're very similar in style. I've heard she's a striker. that were about the same height, 5'8", 5'9", very similar physique. So I'm honestly excited to just like stand up and bang with her.
That'd be awesome.
How was OCS?
It was a trip.
Yeah. No, I've obviously went on the
Were you a boot camp enlisted?
I was enlisted. Yeah, I just lost my train of thought. It's been 20 plus years, but I was always curious. I've never really talked to anybody that's been through OCS and what their experience was like. So, yeah, so it was interesting.
Oh yeah, it was wild. Just because it's like you have with OCS is a little bit different because you have all the physical stuff you have to go through, which is a whole nutshell in itself. But then like when you're at OCS, every single thing you do is graded, like every single thing. So you're graded on your academics. You have to take exams. You're graded on your leadership because they give you billets. So like fire team leader, squad leader, company commander, company sergeant, all that stuff. And so like you're being graded the entire time. So it's just.
And do they, if I'm not mistaken, I could be thinking of a different class, but don't they rank you? And does that determine on where you get to go, or do they just say, hey, you're going to go wherever the Marine Corps needs you?
So for OCS, not so much. OCS is just kind of like the baseline.
Okay.
You're talking about more like TBS or MOS.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. When you go to those, that's when you get the rankings, and then you can kind of like, if you're higher in rank, then you have a better idea and decision of where you're going to go.
Yeah.
But even then, the Marine Corps can just be like,
so
for you ever.
The enlisted guys, we don't get that opportunity. It's like, well, you get like when I went in as an 01. Just I didn't know what I was actually going to do, but I knew I was going to be legal admin. It just depended on what my job was inside the office. I didn't know that until after I finished everything else. So that's cool. I wish I would have known that prior to us coming on. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's super sweet. Definitely a great opportunity. So
are you going to be active duty then, or reserve?
Well, currently, the way that they do OCS is they split it up into two separate portions of training. Okay. So I did my first 6 weeks of training this summer, and then I'll finish my second 6 weeks this coming summer.
Okay.
And I can't officially commission until after I've graduated with my bachelor's degree. So it won't be until at least 2022 before I can commission.
Semper Fi, Mike. There's another Marine that's chimed in on us.
Hey, Semper Fi. Or Ductus Exemplo, as they like to say at OCS. It's kind of their motto.
Is it really? I didn't know that. I never knew that.
Yeah, lead by example.
That's true, though. Yeah, you definitely got to lead by example when you're an officer in the Marine Corps.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's talk more about your fight. We talked enough about Marine Corps. Nobody cares about that.
I think people care about it. It's interesting. I'm fighting Marine too.
Hey,
so the guy I'm fighting is a Marine, and then he's a teammate of the person you're fighting.
Yeah,
we're both fighting out Jeremy Horn's gym.
Yep.
Okay, sweet.
It's all coming together. It's all coming together.
So that means that me and you, Zach, just need to get together and like get down, come up with a game plan, just take down their gym, right?
For sure. Good luck. No, it's gonna be cool. It looks like she just fought like this or last month.
God dang. Okay.
She just fought last month out in Iowa on the same card that Jeremy Horn fought on out in Iowa.
Okay.
So, yeah. But so like you said, similar style, similar record. I think you're 2-3 versus 3-2. What's it been like? Because you started out 2-0, and then you had 3 rough matchups. What's that been like? How was your fight earlier this year? I saw it was a split decision. I remember seeing a lot of people thought that there was some controversy with that. What did you think about those fights?
Yeah, so the first 2 that I had, one of them was actually a belt opportunity that I had up in Montana. And it was an interesting bout. You know, she was a high level grappler, and she was awesome. It didn't end up going my way. I got submitted with a triangle, and then after that I had Amy, and she's a high level grappler as well. She's a beast. So definitely seeing those 2, I saw some holes in my game that I need to work on that I've been working on. And then I went up against I think it was Dylan Sprague.
Yeah.
Down in Vegas. And it was a split decision. And it was one of those ones where you're just kind of like, honestly, it could have gone either way. I was too complacent. You know, I was used to those 3-minute rounds, but it's tough enough to do those 2-minute rounds.
Yeah.
And so I was way too complacent. You know, I stayed back a little too much. I should have just went forward and gone for it. You know, taking it to her a little bit more. And so, like, I can't really be mad about the decision. Is it one of those decisions where you're just like, oh, freak? Like, I probably should have had that. Yeah. But at the same time, I was too complacent, so I can't be mad about it.
I think that's cool that you can be at least honest with it too. I think it's really easy for fighters to place blame other places and not be fully aware of why they lost at times.
Yeah. And like definitely like I've got to own up to it because otherwise I'm not going to get better, you know?
So specifically what have you done to fill some of those holes?
Yeah, so I've definitely been focusing on my jiu-jitsu and ground game for sure. I've continued to increase and to hone my stand-up game. I've really enjoyed the opportunity that I've had down here since Steve has helped come down to Vegas. We've been able to have a lot of high-quality people like Phil Dunlap and Jay like come up to the gym and really help out. And like Phil is ridiculous on the ground. Like every time I meet with him, I've probably gained like 20 steps.
That's awesome.
Like his game is ridiculous. So I've definitely just been focusing on that, trying to increase those skills as much as possible.
Who are your main training partners down there?
So in Cedar, I guess my main training partners are probably Brandon. So Brandon Hansvik, he's one of my main training partners. Ryan, he's one of the coaches, but he used to also fight in the past, so he's one of my main training partners. And then Austin.
Yeah.
And so those are my main training partners in Cedar. And right now I'm trying to get to Vegas as much as possible, just to get as many looks as possible.
I mean, that's pretty cool because I'm starting to see this. We saw it a little bit with Clay Collard. They had like their little team up in Idaho. Cole Schaefer and Justin Ledet had their coach. Like you're starting to see these like little, almost like they're at a gym, but then these like pods of fighters that like, and it's this like iron sharpens iron type thing. I mean, Brandon's obviously very good, and Austin's obviously I think he's got a pretty good future in MMA coming as well. What's it like are you the only active female fighter at that gym?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
What's that like?
I mean, for me, it's just like the same as if there were, I guess, any other females there. Like it's cool to have other female fighters there. But it's cool to be able to work with the guys just because all of them are bigger than me. So because they're bigger than me and they're stronger than me, that really helps to hone my technique because I'm not going to be able to outpower them. So I really have to focus on my technique, being able to outmatch them that way. And so that's a really cool thing about working with all the guys. We honestly, usually we don't have many females down there. The only other time we had females down there is when we had Michelle and Heather. I don't know why. Yeah, when Heather was down there, and they were the only ones that were really down there for an extended period of time. So I've been pretty much the only female fighter there pretty regularly.
Well, pros and cons to both, I think, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I guess with like female fighters, you get a little bit of a different take because we tend to be more technical, and so it's always different transitioning. I'm just kidding. So it's a little bit different, like transitioning from only working with the guys, and then like when you get in the cage and you start working with the females.
Well, our last guest that we had on Friday, Zach, that we did Soya and Mitch. Soya did Soya and Mitch. Thursday or Friday we did Soya and Mitch, and she actually kind of commented on that too, that training with the guys versus training with the girls. And there was a little bit of a difference there. You know, maybe the guys might take it a little bit easier on her. And then versus when she gets in the cage and she's got a girl trying to rip her head off.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Well, I guess it's a balancing act.
It's hard. And I mean, you could speak to this. I'm sure you get frustrated too, because you're a competitor and like you're in it. And I've seen you fight and like you have no problem mixing it up. But like when I train with some of the girl fighters at our gym, like I have a super hard time punching girls in the face. Like I have a really hard time with it. I can kick them in the legs. I can punch them in the stomach. Like punching them, it's hard for me. Like because I've been raised my whole life. Like, you don't hit girls, you know. And I grew up with two older sisters who used to beat the crap out of me. I'm going to call them out here on the podcast a little bit. Mainly my sister Alicia. She used to beat the brakes off me, and I deserved it. I was the annoying little brother. But you know, I hit her back, and I'd get in trouble. It's like you don't hit girls. I'm like, what the freak?
Yeah, that's often what happens when guys first come into the gym, especially. You know, they come in and they're just like, oh, wow, like first of all, usually they come in, they're like, what's up, dude? And they think I'm a guy. So like the first couple rounds is fine because they think I'm a dude. And so they just go at me. And then they realize I'm a girl and they're like, oh, freak. And then they freak out.
Stop it.
It's the shortcut.
That's
It
so
kind of
funny.
throws people for a
Because
loop.
throws
sometimes.
people off.
Oh
Yeah, it
no.
throws people off. But it's funny because like if there really is like that timidity that comes because they don't want to punch you in the face. But oftentimes once you start sparring with them, you catch them a couple times, then they realize,
Then they're
okay,
like-
like yeah, I
It's
can
probably-
go a little bit harder.
It probably helps training with some guys that are a little bit more older, a little more experienced. Like Brandon, I know he's a little bit older. Obviously, Steve's down there. So that probably helps getting in there with some guys that are a little more experienced. Not saying that the other guys aren't, but you know, they've been around the game a little bit longer and can help push you maybe a little bit harder.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I like to ask all of our fighters that come on here, do you consider yourself more of a fighter or a fan?
Do I consider myself more of a fighter or a fan?
Yeah.
Well, if you were to ask me how many fighters names that I know that are in the UFC right now, or who's holding the belts right now, I'd have a pretty limited answer.
Okay.
So I'd probably say more
There
of
you
a
go.
fighter, more of
Okay.
a fighter than a fan. But like I love it because like I grew up a fan. So like I remember watching the UFC and like if you asked me who is the female fighters at the time who were at the top of the ranks, I could tell you all the way down to the bottom list, like who were the female fighters, and I'd be able to give it to you. So like I would say I definitely grew up a fan and then turned into a fighter as time went on. And like I still like keep up with it, I guess. But just because like with work, with school, with everything else, like I don't really have the time to be as much of a fan as I used to.
Yeah, because I mean, like it's just an interesting perspective, and I like to hear other fighters that talk about it, especially amateur fighters, because it's like I don't know. Do you have aspirations of like going pro, making a career out of this, or is it just fun? Do you just enjoy doing it?
I mean, I would love to go pro. Like I really do. I want to go pro and like take this as far along as I can. And as you can see, I have a lot of stuff that I want to do. So at some point, I'm going to have to decide what route I'm going to take. So.
Yeah, see, because that's right. Like I'm a fan. I'm totally a fan. Like I fight when I can. You know, I work a couple jobs too. I train. I'm married. I have 3 kids. Like, so it's like I can't just always just take every fight because I have other stuff going on. But man, I can't tell you the last time that I missed watching a card.
Doesn't happen. Yeah, it doesn't happen too often.
Doesn't happen very often, and my wife can attest to that. And but I'm totally a fan. Like I geek out. Like this card that we're on is so freaking awesome. And
it's stacked.
All I was worried about and was asking Cody was, can I be the first fight so that I can get my fight over with and then just go sit in the stands and watch with everybody else and be a fan?
Yeah.
Like I'm super excited to fight. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I'm so freaking stoked to fight and finally get back at it since February. For me was the last time I fought, but like I'm just as excited to like sit down and watch the fights with everybody. Like win, lose, or draw my fight, like I'm so freaking stoked to sit down and watch fights.
Yeah, because it's going to be amazing to see. We've got some crazy fighters on this card. Like you were saying at the beginning, it's just stacked. Like pretty much everyone is just going to be a main event.
You could throw anybody that's on that card, even with you and Zach both being on the amateur undercard. You guys could be a title fight or a co-main event or main event on any local promotion. Like it's that deep of a card. And I mean, people that are listening, I keep saying this every time we talk on here. If there's people listening and you have not got your tickets yet, I'd advise you to get them now because they're selling. So funny story, Asia, I've been trying to get your opponent scheduled on here. And she said, hey, can I wait until next Tuesday until I get the link for my tickets? And I said, I mean, really, it's up to you, but I wouldn't wait because there's already tables that are sold out.
Yeah,
the whole front row is already complete.
Yeah, the whole front row around the cage it was literally sold out that day.
Hours.
Wow.
And Zach's blaming it on Bobby King.
100%. And I told him
I mean, that makes sense. Last card he was on, he
packed the house. Well, everybody does. Zach brings a huge crowd. I mean, you got Steve Sharp coming back, Jerome Hatch, Zach Cavender's on the card. Like the card is just top to bottom stacked. I'm sure you guys will bring a crowd up from Cedar City, like because you usually do.
Yeah, that's the plan.
And I feel like we always forget to mention Skylar Frazier's coming back on the card. Like
Skylar Frazier's coming back.
He's gonna have a huge following. Like, dude, it's crazy. It's so crazy. It's gonna be such a fun night. Yeah, I can't wait. So if you don't watch it a ton, my other question usually is if you had a dream matchup, what would it be? Like if you could fight anybody, UFC, whatever, if you could fight anybody, who would it be?
If I could fight anybody,
Yeah.
oh, I mean, I am a huge fan of Amanda Nunes. I love that woman. So like, if I could fight her and take her out, that'd be great.
If I had her and take her out, you'd make a lot of money.
If I had that skill level, because she's just such a beast.
She's
like on the ground, stand up, everything. Like she's just like what I aspire to be and more. You know what I mean? So like definitely, if I could match up with her, she would be the one.
What weight class do you fight at?
So it's funny because I fought mostly at 145, but my actual fight class is 135. So I'm a bantamweight.
There you go.
But usually when people hit me up, they're like, "We had someone back out," or "We need someone who fights at 145," and I'm just like, "Yeah, like I'm gonna eat some barbecue, go eat me some cake and ice cream. Let's go."
Don't talk to me about. I'm cutting weight. I don't want to hear that right now.
I'm sorry. I feel you.
So Asia, the rumor on the street is you got a pretty good TikTok account.
Your TikTok's hilarious. You put a.
I definitely enjoy doing it. I mean, we'll say that.
I mean, because most TikToks are like girls will be like dancing and doing whatever, and then you're kind of, I don't know. It's just like it's goofy and fun, and it's awesome.
It's literally the most random stuff. Like literally, I'll be sitting there. I'm like, I should make a TikTok of this, and that's
funny. Well, people like that. Look at that guy that went freaking viral from his skateboarding video up in Idaho.
Drinking
Stevie Nicks.
Juice.
Yeah,
off of Stevie
Nicks. Yeah, off of Stevie Nicks song.
Yeah.
Like, and it's gone like millions of views.
Exactly.
It's crazy. Yeah, I tried to download. I downloaded it for my daughter, and I let her. She's 10, so she YouTubes all the dances, and I'm like, I don't know if I want you doing these dances.
Yeah,
and she's good.
Be a little risque,
and she's good too. Like, nice.
The little ones in the car kill me.
Yeah, that was like when I was driving. Because when I went to OCS, I went back to Georgia for a little bit to visit my family, and I bought a car when I was down there. And so I drove all the way back to Utah, and literally like I drove it in 2 days. So I was just zooming and just jamming the music. So yeah.
So Asia, once you graduate OCS, you come out as second lieutenant, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then you'll find out where you get stationed at from there, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, after that, then you have to go to TBS, the basic school.
The basic school. Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. And then once you do that, that's when they really start to ship you out and everything.
Any preference where you get stationed?
Honestly, no. I don't really have a preference. Like I've always just kind of wanted to travel. So wherever they want to stick me, I'm good.
That's a great. I talked to a kid, one of my clients, her son is thinking about going in. He's 16, almost 17. And he called me and was asking me questions. I said, man, just if I had to go back and redo it again, just do everything you can do. Go to every class you can go to every deployment you can go on, which sometimes you don't have an option, but depending on your job, like I had options. Like if I didn't want to go, I didn't have to go because I was the only one in my office that did my job. But I think it's awesome that you want to do that. I see the world, man. Go do it. Everything. Go on floats. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's awesome.
There's so much stuff. There's so many opportunities that I have right now. And so
did you get to do any McMap stuff while you were in?
No, we didn't. They saved McMap for the second portion. So I didn't get to use bugle sticks. I didn't get to do any MMA. I was so pumped to go in there and beat girls up, but I couldn't even do it.
You are going to destroy those girls and those guys. Like if you have any jiu-jitsu, if you're a white belt, you're going to go in there and just mop the floor with those people.
Yeah.
I got to touch on it just a tiny bit. So I was in from 95 to 99, got out in 99, but I ended up doing another year in 03.
Oh, okay.
And I went to Japan. Well, during that time, they transitioned from just the basic, like one back, two back to the McMap. And I was with the reserves at that time, and we had a legit jiu-jitsu black belt, and he was just he was tapping out those guys left and right, and they couldn't figure it out. They didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Heck yeah. I know. Hopefully we get the chance to do it because I'm ready to beat some folks up down there.
Those poor people have no idea. They probably don't even know you fight neither. So I wouldn't even tell them.
And it's funny because like we actually had quite a few wrestlers that were in my platoon, who like wrestled in college and everything. And I was always just like, you guys, I'm down.
Hey, let's do
let's
it.
wrestle like in the middle of the night when you're supposed to be asleep, like out in the head, wrestling.
Yeah,
that stuff happened too. Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy. Well, why don't you just worry about fighting on November 14th, and you guys can worry about the rest of it.
Yeah, let's focus on this first.
Let's focus on that.
So let me focus on taking Cammy down first.
Take Cammy down.
Yep. And we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Exciting stuff.
Do you have any sponsors you'd like to give a shout out to?
Unfortunately, no. I don't have any sponsors. I need to get on that though. I need to be better.
Hey, if you need help with like shirts or banners or anything, let us know.
Oh, definitely.
Because that's what we do. Another thing that we do with this is we help fighters with getting their shirts up so we can help, promote them for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Make some money.
Make a little extra money. So if you have like a design or a certain specific shirt you want to do, we're more than happy to help you out with that.
Yeah. Thank you. I definitely appreciate that. Yeah. I need to be a little bit better at the sponsor game.
Hey, it all adds up in your bank account at the end of the day.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
Well, we're super excited to see you fight. I think it's awesome you came on. I think it's even I was excited to interview you anyways, but now that I know you went to OCS, it's even more exciting for me. So
I know I saw I always see your post and how you have the Marine Corps banners. I'm just like, all right, that's my man. No. Well, and Zach, I already know Zach because we fought on the same card.
Exactly.
So every time I see the
corner
post anything.
Usually when we interview the fighters, it's like I really don't have much in common with them because I don't fight. Mm-hmm. It's usually Zach, but then lately I've had a lot in common with a lot of them. Your opponent tomorrow, I have something. We actually have the same coach in the bodybuilding world.
Oh, okay, so, sweet. That's awesome.
So it's just it's cool.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Cool.
You good, Zach?
Well, I'm good.
All right, Asia. Thanks again for coming on today. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Look forward to watching you fight on the 14th.
Heck yeah. You as well.
Thank you. It's going to be fun.
Have a good day, Asia.
You too. Bye.